What's going on, everybody? So the other day I posted that video about how I'm really searching for focus with my collecting habits. And a lot of people gave a lot of great advice. And a lot of people said, I'm kind of in the same position. I feel like you. I feel like I want everything. And because I want everything, I'm having a hard time focusing. And then a lot of other people reached out and they said, I want to be buying cards that are going to be going up in value. I don't want cards that I just like. I want cards that I like, but there will always be a demand for, that people will always want them. And I've really been thinking about it a lot. And, for most of this past week, I was kind of continuing to think as I was doing eBay searches or golden searches or whatever. And I said, you know what? That's a great point. If I'm going to collect something and there are a lot of things that I want, why not start with the things that I think there will always be demand for, that I think people will always be drawn to? So what are those things? And, obviously people do player runs. Like, I think people will always want Mantles. They'll always want Jackie Robinsons. They'll always want Clementes. No doubt about it. I also think people are always going to want Hall of Famers. I think some Hall of Famers are going to want more than others. But people like collecting Hall of Famers because those are the guys that kind of have the little star by their name as extra special. So then I started thinking, and I was like, you know what I'm always drawn to at shows? I'm always drawn to those iconic sets. I'm drawn, whenever I see the T206s at a table, I check them out. Who do they have? How much are they? Whenever I see the 33 Gaudis at a show, I stop, I check them out. Who do they have? How much do they want? And the same thing with the 52 Topps cards. There are those iconic sets that I think in the hobby, they're so iconic, they just like stand out. You look at a case and there's almost like a glow around them. Now that's not to say that a 62 Sandy Koufax isn't a great card, but it doesn't quite stand out like cards from those iconic sets. So then I was just kind of, thumbing through the internet and just scrolling away and clicking and reading, which I do a lot of. And I came across an article, or it's not even really an article, it's just a section on PSA's website. Now, whether you love PSA or you hate PSA, and I know that there are people in both camps, they've got a pretty darn good website. And they've got a lot of tools and they've got a lot of resources. And I kind of just fell upon this section on their website where they ranked the top 10 most iconic sets of all time. And I'm like, well, what do they think the top 10 iconic sets are? So I clicked on it and I started going through it. And you know what? For the most part, I mostly agreed with their top 10. I think I agreed with 9 of their 10. Maybe 8 of their 10. I have 1 or 2 that I would have included that they didn't include. So they included a couple that I probably wouldn't have included. But for the most part, it really is a good list of the top 10 sets of vintage cards. So then I was like, well, if I want to collect Warren Spahn cards, who I really like, or I want to collect, Al Kaline cards, who I also like, why not focus on the sets of the guys that focus on the cards in those iconic sets? So I really like Monty Irvin. why not collect the Monty Irvin cards from the iconic sets before collecting the Monty Irvin cards from the other sets? Kind of makes sense. So I went through their list. It's a pretty good list, and I want to go through that list with you. And as I go through that list, for every set that they have listed in their top 10, I picked somewhere between 6 to 10 cards that I thought were great cards of Hall of Famers that are, in most cases, pretty affordable. Now, of course, we all want the Mantles from those sets. And of course, we all want the Mazes from those sets. We want the Clementes from those sets. But in some cases, depending on the set, they're fairly unaffordable. So I tried to pick 5 to 10 cards that were the most affordable of Hall of Famers that were pretty cool cards. So I'm going to go through PSA's top 10 sets of all time. I'm going to show you some cool cards from those 10 sets that for most people in most budgets, at least some of them in each set, are fairly reasonable and somewhat affordable. And then I'm going to show you what they've sold for recently in collector grades. In grades like the average guy like me, like this guy can afford. Of course, the 52 top set is included. And of course, I'd love to have a Mantle and a Mays and a Jackie Robinson. That's not going to happen anytime soon. So I look for the Hall of Famers that are more in the average guy, the regular blue-collar type guy like myself, his budget, and what they sell for. So, top 10 sets of all time according to PSA, in their ranking order, which I don't always agree with. Some I agree with, some I don't. Several Hall of Fame cards that for most of us seem affordable for most of the cards. Check this out. Tell me what you think of these sets. So first off, do you agree with PSA's ranking? Who did they leave out? Who should they not have included? And what do you think of the order that they put them in? And what do you think about the prices? I think you're going to be surprised. For example, that 52 top set, there are some really cool cards that are honestly more affordable than even I expected. Let me know what you think. I think they're cool cards, but if we're going to be collecting Hall of Famers, kind of makes sense. Like maybe we should start collecting those Hall of Famers from the most famous sets, since I think there will always be a demand for Hall of Famers. And I think there will always be a demand for those iconic sets. Check it out. Tell me what you think of my choices, of the prices, but also PSA's rankings and their order. All right, so here we go. This is PSA's website and their top 10 sets. So let's go ahead and take a look. Now, first off, they have an honorable mention, and their honorable mention is the 75 top set, which is a cool set. But I would have probably gone with the 71 set for the honorable mention. Number 10 is the 1963 Topps set. Now that makes sense. The card has some iconic cards, and it's a tough set. And it's really, really difficult to find a lot of those cards in good condition and a lot of memorable cards from it. Now, obviously, the Pete Rose is the big one in the set. And we're going to go ahead and look at 8 cards from that set that are fairly affordable and really cool. So here's the Pride of the NL card. And it's in a 4. A really cool card. We have another card that has Musial on it. And this is the Musial in a 4.5. I went with all SGC this time because sometimes I get a little PSA heavy. So I'm all SGC. We have a Clemente in a 2.5. And I'll show the prices after we look at the 8 cards. This is a Hank Aaron and a 5. And, I mean, all of these are pretty good-looking cards. This is a Whitey Ford and a 7. Again, we'll look at 8 cards that I think are fairly affordable and cool-looking cards from each of the 10 sets. We've got a Yastrzemski in a 7. And next up is an Eddie Matthews in a 6. So some of these are lower grades, like a Clemente, who's a pretty expensive player to collect. But then some of the other guys, you can get in a pretty decent grade for a reasonable price. And that's a Gibson, a Bob Gibson in a 5. Another really cool looking card. So that Pride of the NL card, that thing sold for $39 in a 4. I mean, it's got 2 big-time players on it. The Musial, the 4.5 Musial sold for $42.63. All of these sales are within the last couple of months. The Clemente and the 2.5, it sold for $75. This is a 1963 Roberto Clemente in a 2.5 for $75. The Aaron in the SGC 5 is $146.50 was the selling price. It is an old label, but still. The Whitey Ford in the 7 sold for $56, which that's a good-looking card. The Yastrzemski is one of the best appealing cards for me. I think the picture's outstanding. And in a 7, it sold for $79. The Eddie Matthews in a 6 went for $45.90. And that really nice looking Gibson over at the right went for $72.52. Some really cool cards. So what set came in at number 9 according to PSA? Well, they chose the 55 top set as the 9th best set of all time. Now, it does have some great cards in it. And here's a little bit of what PSA had to say about the set. And I'm going to go ahead and show you 6 cards with recent sales. So, again, the most iconic card in the set is the Clemente rookie, but the Koufax is a big one too. So, 2 huge cards in this set. So, here's a Duke Snider and a 3.5, really well-centered card. Really nice-looking card. I really, really like the 55s a lot. 55s and 56s. Eddie Matthews. Eddie Matthews here is in a 6. Another awesome card. I love how it's got, each of these cards in 55 and 56 have the action shot and then also the portrait shot. We have an Ernie Banks in a 2.5, which is a pretty nice looking 2.5, really. I like the red background there. The Warren Spahn in a 4. The coloring on that Warren Spahn, I mentioned that a couple weeks ago in a video how much I like that card. A second-year Al Kaline, and that's the second-year Banks, by the way, too. The second-year Al Kaline in a 4. And then one of the best-looking cards ever, my favorite Jackie Robinson card, in a 2.5. So what did these sell for? Now, some of them were a little bit more than you might think, and some were a little bit less than you might think. The Duke Snider in a 3.5 sold for $142.50. The Eddie Matthews in a 6 sold for $130.50. His rookie's in the 52 top set, so it's about his 4th card or so. The second-year Ernie Banks in a 2.5 sold for just $66. And then that Warren Spahn in the 4, super good looking card, sold for $54. The Al Kaline, second year Al Kaline in the 4, sold for $99. Some of these were buy it now, some of them were auction. There were a few of each. And then the Jackie Robinson in a 2.5. That's an expensive card. Any card with Jackie Robinson's expensive. That one sold for $370, which, again, I just think it's a really cool looking card. So the number 8 set, according to PSA, is the 1954 Topps. Another cool set with 3 really big rookie cards. There were other rookie cards in it, and one of the cards we're going to look at here in a second is another rookie card, but in this case, there are three huge ones, as we all know, with the K-Line, the Banks, and, as you see there on your screen, the Hank Aaron. So, in the 54 set, we're going to look at 8 cards here. First up is a rookie. It's the only playing day card of Tommy Lasorda in a 3.5. And then we have Duke Snider in a 3.5 with the green background. The Lasorda is a really cool looking card. It's kind of a tighter shot of him. And then the Yogi Berra, where he's got the swing in the background and he's kind of crouching down with the mitt there in a 3.5 with the green background. A really nice looking Richie Ashburn card. This one's a 6. So it's a high grade card. And then next up we have the Monty Irvin, which is a 5. And that's also a really cool looking card in my opinion. We have a Whitey Ford in a 4.5 with that light blue background. I kind of like that kind of pearl background like the Ernie Banks has that the Monty Irvin and Richie Ashburn have. We got another blue background one, the Warren Spahn in a 3. And then rounding out the 8 is the Larry Doby, which is also a 3. So, in my opinion, 8 really cool cards. Again, all the cards that we're going to be looking at are Hall of Famers. That Tommy Lasorda rookie card sold for $133.50. Again, it's a 3.5 with great eye appeal. And Tommy Lasorda obviously has a big following. The Duke Snider in a 3.5 sold for $49.25. Way down from the 55 Snider in the same grade on the previous screen. The Yogi Berra in 3.5 sold for $101. And the Richie Ashburn, again, a really nice Richie Ashburn card there, sold for $82. That seems like a steal to me. A really nice Monty Irvin. Again, I think Monty Irvin doesn't have a bad-looking card. That one sold for $84 in the 5. The Whitey Ford in the 4.5 sold for $56. I still don't understand. Pitchers just seem to sell for so much less than hitters. I think they're a great deal. The Warren Spahn in a 3 sold for $56, and that Larry Doby in a 3. It was a best offer. They were asking $100, so we just know it was somewhere under $100. Probably somewhere between $80 and $90 would be my guess. So the number 7 all-time set, according to PSA, is the 53 Bowman Color set. Some really, really gorgeous cards. The photography in this set is incredible. And we're going to take a look at some of those cards now. The famous Pee Wee Reese card I showed there. All right, so a Mini Minoso 53 Bowman Color in a 4. And then we've got, next up, a Warren Spahn. To me, this is one of the best looking cards of all time. I absolutely love this card. I've talked about it many, many times. I think it is absolutely gorgeous in a 3. And then we've got an Early Win in a 2.5. Another cool card. And then next up, we've got a Campanella. And that Campanella, that's a great picture, kind of taken up with the stadium in the background. And that one's in a 2. We've got a Larry Doby in a 2.5. Cool kind of shot of him just lounging. Next up, we have Nellie Fox in a 4. And again, we've got 8 cards in the 53 Bowman Color set. The next one is a Bob Feller. Now, that's an old label SGC, but it is a 5. Another nice looking card. Again, pitchers continue, you'll see in a second, to be very affordable. And then an Eddie Matthews in a 3. Another great picture. So what did they all sell for? The Minoso seems cheap to me at $62. And I just think that's such a great pose. Monty Irvin has a really cool card in this set as well. The Warren Spawn in a 3 sold for $81. Again, when you're talking about $15 to $20 to get the cards graded, that makes these prices even more surprising to me. The Early Win in the 2.5 sold for $20.50. And the Campanella in the 2 sold for $69. That Dobie, the Larry Dobie, sold for $55.99, so basically $56 in a 2.5. And then the Nellie Fox sold for $44 in the SGC 4 grade. The Bob Feller in the 5 sold for $179.93. And then last but not least, that Eddie Matthews in the 3 grade sold for under $80. It's $77.53. So a really great set. I was a little surprised to see it in the top 10 because I don't know how much others appreciate it, but I sure do. Number 6, the 52 top set came in at number 6. I think that's too low personally. Maybe a set that I would have thought would have been in the top 2 or 3, and it came in at number 6. But nonetheless, we obviously know it for the Mantle card. It has a huge Jackie Robinson and Willie Mays. But let's look at 8 other cards from that set that might surprise you at how affordable they are. First up, we have a Gil Hodges. That's in a 4 grade. I like how it's in landscape, how it's on its side. There are some other cool cards on their side in this set. Johnny Mize is one in particular. Kind of an iconic Phil Rizzuto card, probably the best looking Phil Rizzuto card is the 52 tops. And then the Warren Spawn with the red background. Again, I've shown that card quite a few times. That one's really well centered. Now, it's tough to find the 52s centered. When you do, there is a premium. I tried to pick some that were nice looking. Most of these are centered. The Robin Roberts is another great card in a 4.5. One of my other favorite all-time cards as far as how they look is the Monty Irvin. This one is in a 3. Bob Feller. I mean, when we look at the first 6 cards on this list, 5 of them, to me, are some of my all-time favorite cards. The 7th card is the Larry Dobie. He's kind of hanging out, looks like in the dugout there. That one's a 2. And then the Richie Ashburn with the green background and the red cap on, a really cool card, is in a 2.5. Now, only 3 of these cards, well, 4 of these cards, I guess, half of them sold for over $100, and one of them was the Gil Hodges for $150. The Phil Rizzuto in a 1.5 sold for $120. Again, that's just a really iconic card of him. It's probably his best and most popular card. The Warren Spawn in the 2.5 sold for $128. And the remaining 5, only one of them sold for over $100. The Robin Roberts, cool card in that 4.5, sold for $81. That was less than I would have thought for a 4.5. The Monty Irvin, awesome looking card, sold for $81.01. If I had seen that one up, I probably would have bid more than $81.01 personally. The Bob Feller in the 1.5 sold for $69.50. The Larry Dobie in a 2, well, that one was the best offer that was accepted, and the asking was $150. We just know it went for under that. And the last card is that awesome Richie Ashburn in a 2.5 for $70. So, of these 8 cards, 4 of them were under $100 from the iconic 52 set. They're all Hall of Famers, and in my opinion, all 8 are awesome cards. Number 5 is the 51 Bowman set according to PSA. Now, we know that set as being insanely important because of the Mantle rookie and the Mays rookie, and it also has the Whitey Ford rookie. The Whitey Ford, like I've mentioned before, the other pitchers, it's
More affordable than I think it should be. All right, the 51s, we're going to look at 8 cards. The first one up is the Larry Doby in a 4. I showed you mine the other day in a video that I did. The Robin Roberts in a 5 is very affordable. How about this Yogi Berra in a 1.5? Now, it's a little bit rough, but it is well centered. And then we've got Ted Williams in a 2. Now, that's going to be the most expensive one in the 51 set, and that even includes this Whitey Ford. Now, that part of that is because this Whitey Ford is a 1, and it also has a little mark on the front of it. This Pee Wee Reese is in a 5. Really cool Pee Wee Reese card. And again, 5 grade in the 1951 set is a really nice card. One of my favorite cards in the set is the Duke Snider. This one's in a 3. And then Monty Irvin's rookie card is also in the 51 Bowman set to go with all those other huge rookie cards, and that one's in a 2. So the Larry Doby in the 4, a beautiful card, was a best offer accepted. The asking was $160, so we just know it's under that. And then the Robin Roberts in the 5 grade, really high grade for a 51 Bowman, $129.35. How about the Yogi Berra in a 1.5 sold for $82? Anytime you can buy a Yogi Berra that's a Bowman card for under $100, that's a good deal. Ted Williams in a 2 went for $276. And some of you say, well, Greg, this was supposed to be affordable cards. Yeah, but $276 isn't crazy for a 1951 Ted Williams. The Whitey Ford in a 1 with the little mark on it sold for $76.10. That's his rookie card. I mean, I know it has a mark, but it's still his rookie card. The Pee Wee Reese in a 5 sold for $107.45. That seems like a really good deal. The Duke Snider in a 3. Now, this is Duke Snider's 3rd-year card, sold for $71. And the Monty Irvin rookie, that's his rookie card in a 2, sold for $95.02. Under $100 for a Whitey Ford rookie and a Monty Irvin rookie. Now, that Ford is usually going to be much higher. Number 4 on the all-time list, according to PSA, is the 1941 Play Ball set. Now, Play Ball had a couple of sets before this. This one has the color, though, which makes it pretty important. It's got a really iconic DiMaggio and Ted Williams card. You can see the Ted Williams right there on your screen now. So we're going to take a look at 6 cards of Hall of Famers. Now, when we start getting this far back, you know, some of the cards are going to be a little bit more expensive. So we're not going to be getting some of these cards for $30, but they're still fairly affordable. So first off, we have a Jimmy Fox in a 2. Then we have a Pee Wee Reese in a 2. Next up, we have a Bill Dickey in a 3.5. And the next 3 are going to start us off with Carl Hubbell. Carl Hubbell was still playing at this point in a 2.5. Now, a lot of people consider that Pee Wee Reese's rookie card, but I know that, you know, rookie cards with a lot of these, with these little offshoot lines and cards that came out, is always debatable. But there are some rookie cards amongst the cards coming through. The Lefty Gomez in a 1.5 and a Mel Ott in a 1.5. So again, this is the 1941 Play Ball set. The Jimmy Fox in a 2 sold for $266. Now remember, his rookie card is in the 33 Gowdy set. So this is not too far off from that. The Pee Wee Reese, which a lot of people consider his rookie, $355 for the Pee Wee Reese in a 2. The Bill Dickey in a 3.5 sold for $190. So yes, all of these are over $100 so far, but the next couple won't be. The Carl Hubbell, this one surprised me. The Carl Hubbell in a 2.5 from the 41 Play Ball set sold for $91. That seems low. Another one that seems low is the Lefty Gomez in a 1.5 for $52.58. And then kind of an expensive one is Mel Ott. Mel Ott's rookie card is in the 33 Gaudi set as well. This 1.5 sold for $299. So what set came in at number 3? Well, it's the 33 Gaudi, speaking of it. The 33 Gaudi is a set that I would have expected to be in the top 3. I thought the play ball was a little high. Being above the 52 tops seemed a little bit of a stretch to me. But it is a great set. So again, number 3 is the 1933 Gaudi set. There was a 34 Gaudi obviously as well, but the 33 is by far the more popular and well-known set. So we're going to look at 6 cards from the 33 Gaudis. First off is a Bill Dickey in a 2. Again, that's a really nice looking 2 in my eyes. Mel Ott has a couple of cards in this set. And this one is in a 1. Again, I'm trying to give you a little bit lower grades so that you can see the ones that are a little bit more affordable. The Jimmy Fox rookie card in a 1. So we have a Mel Ott. A lot of people consider that his rookie card. The Jimmy Fox, a lot of people consider that his rookie card. The 4th card is a red roughing in a 4. That 5th card there is a Bill Terry in a 1.5. So again, some rookie cards are even included. And then we have a Goose Goslin in a 1.5 as the 6th card. Now, only one of these is under $100, but 3 of them are under $200. And the first one, that Bill Dickey in the 2, sold for $193.51. So you can get that card under $200. The Mel Ott, again, a lot of people consider this one of his rookie cards in a 1, sold for $321. But for a prolific home run hitter rookie card from the 33 Gaudi set for $321 seems reasonable to me. And same with Jimmy Fox, which sold for $278. That red roughing in a 4, imagine that, a 33 Gaudi card in an SGC 4 holder, and it's $275. The Bill Terry in the 1.5 sold for $54, very affordable. And then the Goose Goslin in the 1.5 sold for just over $100 at $111.80. So 2 of those cards right around 100 or under. The Bill Dickey at 200, and then the Fox and the Roughing under 300. The number 2 set of all time, according to PSA's website, is the 1915 Cracker Jack set. Now, pretty much every one of these cards, even the commons, are very expensive. So I wanted to show you a few, even though the prices are a little bit unreasonable. So we have a Chief Bender in a 1. Again, I'm only showing you Hall of Famers here. We have a Roger Bresnahan in a 2. It's an old label 2, but it's still a 2. It's off center, but it looks like it's a decent 2. And then the third one, I'm just showing you 3 because everything else is crazy expensive. These are fairly expensive as well, is Miller Huggins, who is the first guy to have a monument in Monument Park. All right, Chief Bender in a 1 sold for $543. I told you, these are expensive. So even a common is going to be in the hundreds. When we're talking about a Hall of Famer, it's going to be even more. This Roger Bresnahan sold for $680, and the Miller Huggins for just under $300 at $294.69. So even these low-grade cards. So what's the number 1 set according to PSA? Well, probably not surprising. To me, it would have been between this and the 52 set as my choice. But the 1909 to 1911 white border set known as the T206. Again, we know this from the most famous card, the Honus Wagner, but there are many other famous cards in this set as well. And we're going to take a look at 5 Hall of Famers here in a second. And this set is just loaded with awesome looking cards. So the T206 set and 5 Hall of Famers. So the first one that we're going to take a look at is this Frank Chance. Frank Chance played for a couple of teams, including the Highlanders, now known as the Yankees. And that one's in a 2. We got Home Run Baker, who also played for the Highlanders, in a 1. And next up, we've got Willie Keeler in a 1. He played for the Highlanders too. And that one's in a 1. Now, I tried to stay away from authentics, but this one I decided to include the John McGraw. This is an authentic grade with the red background. Now, a few of these guys, well, all of these guys, I think, have a second card. Home Run Baker, this might be his only one. The other 4 have 2 cards. The last card is the Addy Joss in an SGC 3. So the Frank Chance in a 2 sold for $360. The Home Run Baker in a 1 sold for $158.06. His cards usually are pretty expensive. So even in a 1 at $158.06, that's a pretty good deal on that card. The Willie Keeler in a 1, this is the portrait Willie Keeler. He has an action 1 too. Sold for $228.02. The authentic John McGraw sold for $92.91. Interesting that it sold for under $100. Now, granted, it is an authentic. And then the Addy Joss in a 3 sold for $398. So 2 of these cards sold for under $200. 3 of them sold for under $230. And all of them sold for under $400. What do you think of PSA's rankings of the sets? And what do you think of the prices? Should we be collecting cards from these iconic sets? I think it's a smart move.